Hello and welcome everyone to the Main Street Matters webinar. My name is Patrick Kaiser. I am the Executive Director of Heart on Main Street. Heart on Main Street is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping independent retailers grow their businesses and evolve and thrive within their communities. This is a monthly webinar series that aims to connect independent retailers to and community organizations to experts within their field so that you all can learn from their incredible wealth of knowledge. So thank you all very much for attending today. If you are new to the Main Street Matters webinar, welcome. If you are an old friend, welcome back. Thank you again for being here. Today, my guest is Ashley Alderson, the founder of the Boutique Hub. Ashley, welcome. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a little bio about Ashley. Ashley is a North Dakota native, now living in the land of the cheeseheads. She has a passion not just for shopping boutiques, but for helping boutiques and boutique owners and the boutique ecosystem of brands, designers, and influencers find success in collaboration, education, and marketing. At the Boutique Hub, Ashley tells the story of the boutique community daily through industry news, highlights, and features, working with thousands of brands and brand owners on strategies to grow their businesses. She wears many hats, including cowboy hats, and considers herself a wife, mother, motivational speaker, big thinker, mold breaker, entrepreneur, advocate, optimist, coach, cook, dragon slayer, and jewelry lover. She looks at each day as a new challenge and it as a new opportunity to learn something new. So again, thank you very much for being here. So let's dive in. Today, we're going to be discussing the Boutique Hub as a resource for independent retailers and really of all types, and really kind of pick your brain, Ashley, as an expert in the field. And I especially wanted to have you on because earlier in the year, for like 3 or 4 webinars in a row, our guests brought up the Boutique Hub and how they were members of the Boutique Hub, or they get resources, or they've attended at Marts, the boutique expo that you did there, or that you've worked with the Marts. It just kind of kept coming up and up, and I would get questions about it, and my audience wanting to know more things about the Boutique Hub. So I said, who better to have on than the founder of the Boutique Hub, Ashley Alderson? So really kind of our first talking point and in question for today, and you can have this as open-ended as you want because it is a big topic in a few words, but tell us about the Boutique Hub.
All right, I'll go back to the beginning. And while I'm sharing this, I just want to invite you guys that are watching, if you wouldn't mind, drop your store name, where you're from, and what you sell in the chat. I would love to just kind of get a feel for who you are and how your business operates. I think that would be super helpful. So please drop that in the chat.
Are you members of the Boutique Hub already? Is this a brand new introduction to you? Let us know.
Yeah, that would be so great. So going all the way back, so I'm from North Dakota originally, like you mentioned. I live in Wisconsin now. The Boutique Hub first started back in 2013, so 11 years ago.
11 years, yeah.
And a lot of businesses, I think, get started almost as a happy accident. Like you think you're going to do one thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, no, that didn't work. I'm going to do something a little bit different. And the Boutique Hub kind of started in that fashion. I am from a small town, 1,600 people, really the middle of nowhere, not a lot of shopping. A floral shop and retail was my very first job at 14. So I've grown up in the retail space. But what happened when I left North Dakota and started to travel after college and really discover these amazing boutiques, whether it was a brick and mortar boutique in a downtown in a big city or a small town, whether it was a vendor, popping up at a rodeo in Reno. I mean, there's just so many different types of independent retail. And I really wanted to find a way to bring all of these amazing, curated, unique businesses together so that selfishly people like me, maybe in the middle of nowhere, could discover them and shop them, because there just wasn't anything like it in my part of the world. And so originally at the Boutique Hub, I started to build this website that was like an online shopping mall of boutiques, really before a lot of e-commerce, before people were as on social media as they are today. It was harder to find unique retailers. So I kind of took my life savings, built this website, didn't know anything about what I was doing. I just really wanted this thing. What I found was when I started to build this community and this website, it wasn't that anyone really needed the website. They needed each other. They needed answers to questions. And my background, I worked in economic development for 7 years before starting the Hub. and ran a chamber of commerce and did a lot of lobbying, and I ran a small business development center. So really, like, small business is my passion. And marketing is also my passion. You know, being on social media from the day that Mark Zuckerberg had to invite you to be on Facebook, right? He was your first friend, to the day that Facebook ads launched. Like, all of that's my background. So when I was pulling these retailers together, what I was hearing them say is, hey, we need resources. We need education. We're former teachers and nurses and stay-at-home moms, and we have this dream to
Yep.
have this retail space. We don't know how to do it. So the boutique hub started in that fashion. It shifted away from this website I built to really be the community it is today. And what we do is really three main things. So most people know the boutique hub for our membership, which is the core of what we do. You subscribe monthly or annually to be a part of our community and access the things I'm about to tell you about. Or they know the boutique hub from the Boutique Summit, which is our big annual conference that we host, or our podcast, all these things. But the three things we really dig into are, number one, community is the core of everything. So how do we connect you to like retailers by size, by type, by income level, by experience? We work with everyone from brand new retailers to, 30 to 60-year experienced retailers to multi-million dollar retailers in all industries and genres: apparel, home and gift, beauty, bridal, salons, like a little bit of everything. So community and connection, and the idea of community over competition and a rising tide lifting all ships, is number one. The second thing is education. Business is always changing, as you know. And so how do we help retailers who are so busy? Like, you guys wear so many hats. You're doing all the things. You're hanging, tagging, steaming, you're washing the bugs out of the front window. Like, you're doing all this stuff. So how do we get time out of your busy day just to teach you the latest strategy that's going to help you attract a few more people through the door? So education's really like the
Which,
central focus.
and you're talking, I mean, you're working with brand new stores to multi-million dollar stores to those that have been in business for 30, 40 years. All
Yeah.
of them need that. All of them need that education in order to help them grow. And there's new things and new developments. And yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you've been in business for 40 years, but there are things that you can learn. So I love the education component.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be a lifelong learner, right? Like, if you're not learning, if you're not growing, you're dying. So
Yeah.
there's your
Yes.
opportunity to
Yeah.
always learn the latest. And then the third thing, Patrick, the last thing that we really focus on, our third pillar, is wholesale. So we believe in really, as you do, collaborating with really great wholesale brands who are proven in an independent retail space, whether it's, again, brick and mortar or online. We have about 1,000 vetted and trusted wholesale brands that we work with, that we promote within our Facebook groups. Like, they can
Yeah.
sell, whatever they want inside of our Facebook groups. We promote them at markets that we attend all over the country, and then on our own wholesale platform, hubventory.com, which is really kind of the only independent retail focused wholesale platform.
Yeah. And it's amazing that, I mean, first off, a couple things from there. Boutique hub, but it's not boutique, it's not apparel boutiques. It's not just, I mean, it really is a community of all types of independent retailers. And so I love that it's, looking at some of the comments that have come in, Rocky Ritter Outfitter, outdoor specialty store, not a member, but an avid follower, right? So it's, an outdoor store, avid follower. So April, thank you for being on today. Trips Mercantile, not a member of the boutique hub. Maybe you'll learn some more things today. We have a Main Street manager. So I love that, having Main Street organizations and community organizations on here, because you all can be advocates for your retailers to learn more and join a community where they can learn and learn from each other across the country. So not a boutique, but Happy Dog Barkery in Downers Grove. Hey, Beth, good to see you again. The Melangerie, a resale boutique, and we have so many great people here. Right. Wanted to learn more about community over competition. So that actually kind of leads me into my next question for you. That was when I first met you, heard you speak was Tampa back in 2022. That was a big part, was community over competition. And I love that. I think there's so much value in retailers working together, community organizations making sure that retailers are working together. So what does community over competition mean for you? How does that play a role for retailers? What are some good examples that you've seen of that? Kind of leave that up to you.
Yes, absolutely. And so, Laura, I'm so glad that you're here, Main Street manager. Laura, this will speak exactly to you. So back in my pre-boutique hub days, when I was working in economic development, this is where community over competition really started for me. There was 2 stores on our Main Street. One was like kind of a department store, embroidery shop, and they had like FR clothing for the oil field. They had all these things. And then there was a Western store across the street. And one day we got word that the Western store was going out of business, and they did a pretty significant business. It's North Dakota, right? Like, that's how we all dress. And the embroidery shop and department store from across the street came into my office and they were terrified. They were like, hey, you have to help us. You have to help us find another similar retailer to go in the Western store. And I was like, wait, are you serious? Like, I don't understand. This is more market share for you. Like, you can now expand your lines. Like, you can take on that business more for you, right? And they were like, no, what you don't understand is whenever two or more like businesses come together, we become a shopping destination. And I was like, oh, like the light bulbs just went off. Like, of course, this is what community over competition means. It's not about beating Becky across the street. It's about how do Becky and I work together to attract twice as many consumers
Yes.
into our community. And the same is true online. It's true for our entire industry. So when I first started the Boutique Hub, what I thought was so interesting, and I really started kind of on the apparel side of things first, and now it's, of course, home and gift as well. But when I started and I would go to apparel markets, it was interesting to walk into a booth, into a temp booth for a brand, and see one retailer kind of filling their rack, but like hiding it and hoarding it. Like, don't look at what I'm buying, right?
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
don't know Becky buy the same brands I'm buying. And through the years, that doesn't exist anymore. Like, community over competition is so alive and well. And it's everything from answering questions of, how do I deal with this conflict? Hey, have you ever sold this brand? What works for you? Hey, what are your best sellers right now? We have an inventory exchange at the Boutique Hub. So it's also one store saying, oh, hey, I have, this broken pack I can't sell. Who wants to buy it from me? And these other retailers are just, supporting one another by helping this markdown cycle and, buying overstock from one another and testing out brands with one another. There's no conversation that's off limits in community over competition. And again, I mentioned apparel started that really well. In my opinion, the home and gift side of the industry still has a little bit of a ways to go in community over
Sure.
competition. There's a little bit of hesitation there that I'm starting to see, come around, and just kind of this new way of how does a rising tide lift all ships for our whole industry. If we're going to, beat some of the big box retailers and China, Shein, Temu, all of these businesses that are coming after us, we have to work together in order to do that, no matter what you sell.
Yeah. I've often, interacting with retailers, there's sometimes this idea that, a dollar in their till is a dollar out of mine. But if there are multiple successful stores in an area, then people are going there. It becomes a shopping destination. People want to come. They're spending more. They're going around. If it's the Main Street area or even just a shopping district, you're going from store to store. You're going there. That it is helping everyone to have more success. And you're not going to the big box stores. You're coming here to our shopping district and spending more there. So I love that. I preach community over competition when I'm talking because I just think it's so powerful that and I've seen business improvement districts and merchant communities that do a great job of working together to host events or really help each other. What are some, really great examples that you've seen of this working within towns of, events or different things that other retailers can do with each other?
Oh, I could talk all day just about this. I have a million
Please. Yeah.
examples. One of the biggest ones I'll say that is the most timely right now is Pink Friday. So Pink
Yes.
Friday is something that was born in the Boutique Hub, gosh, I think like 7 years ago now. And the reason for Pink Friday is, like, don't get me wrong, I love Small Business Saturday. It's great. Yes, thank you, Amex. I just really hate that it comes second. I
Yep.
just hate that it's afterthought after Black Friday. And so we found that a lot of the stores we were working with, they were already doing holiday open houses and different things
Yeah.
pre-Thanksgiving. So we thought, well, okay, why not, put community over competition in action in real life? It's always the Friday before Black Friday. So this year it's November 22nd. It's free for anybody to participate. Like, we just send out graphics and sample press releases and whatever. But the idea is any other small business in your community, boutique or not, salon, spa, anybody can participate, but it's all about telling your story of what it means to shop at a small business and support a small business first before Black Friday. And so really, like, what has started in the last week is the press releases have started to go out. We'll send out like template press releases to small businesses they can share with their local media. And the message we really want them to share is, what is my local economic impact? So everyone here, like, I would love for you to calculate this on your own and share this, because it's mind blowing and astonishing what this number can be for you. So if you just went through your profit and loss and you added up, how much did I spend in payroll in the last year, including what you paid yourself, right? Because that money stays local. What did I spend in any local donations, whether it's a cash amount or it's the value of goods or services? What did I spend in other local vendors? So I went, I spent money at the grocery store, the liquor store. I bought supplies at Walmart, like any local money you spent in supplies and just operations. What did I spend in my local, like my rent or my lease payments? Because that money stayed with my landlord if I
Yep.
don't already own the building. And then what money did I spend in local taxes? My property taxes and sales taxes. And if your city has an extra tax, like add all of that up and times it by 7. Because studies show that an average dollar spent in a local community turns 7 times and stays local before it exits the community. So when you look at, wow, like this was the value of my economic impact from just my small business, and then you pair that, whether it's Pink Friday or any day of the year with all the other local businesses with you, wow, that's the value of
It's
shopping
huge.
small.
Yeah.
That's a huge impact. If you have a local chamber, EDC, your Main Street Association, do it with them too. Like encourage them to calculate that number. Kelly, I see your question. 7 times whatever that total amount is. So those 5 things I told you to add up: your payroll, your donations, your operations, your rent, and your taxes. That total number times that by 7, and that's your economic impact. So
Because
that's a big
dollars get spent within the community 7 times on average before leaving the community. Is kind of where that seven's coming from. Yeah.
right. Yep, they turn 7 times. Versus if you spent it at a big box store, I think the turn there is like maybe 2 because they have local payroll. If you're shopping online, Shein, Temu, which a lot of people are doing that today, it's 0.
It's
Like
gone.
it's
Yep.
just,
Yep.
and it's not that it's out of your community, it's out of the country. So
Yep.
talk about supporting American businesses, that's a whole nother conversation. But to me, that's a big way to do community over competition. But boy, we see retailers, from a small town going to market together, really talking about bestsellers and brands and saying, okay, hey, I understand, like you've got this zip code protected line, I've got this one, like we aren't going to step on each other's toes. I see them sending flowers and being at each other's grand openings. I see them in times of hardship, as I'm sure you do, Patrick, stepping in and, hey, I'm going to come operate your store for you while you're out. Or,
Sure.
I'm going to
Yeah.
run under here and sell things in my store to help get you back on your feet, because it's so important that they both are in that same destination. So all kinds of
I'm
examples.
I'm always amazed by like the generosity that holding fundraisers for another store. It might be a local, we work a lot with natural disasters, but it might be a local. There was a street main broke, it flooded this one store. Other stores were completely fine. We're going to raise money to help that store within and it's like, again, that is just you think of the competition aspect. It's like, well, no, I don't want to give my money to somebody else in the block, but no, it's really helping them be better businesses, helping that whole district become better, because it is going to bring more people in. We're all going to be more successful.
And it's
So
boutique up too, even if you're across the country. So if I'm a boutique owner in Rhode Island and I'm giving tips and strategies to a boutique owner in Kentucky,
yeah,
the better and stronger these
yeah,
businesses are, even being local to each other, we're still promoting the idea of shopping small
shopping local.
and
Yeah.
shopping in a boutique location. And that's better for everybody across the country. The more we can support one another.
Absolutely right. Yeah, that stronger local businesses and when you were talking to before, the whole ecosystem, the economic ecosystem of the Main Street businesses, small businesses, I mean, is so powerful. Like it just, yeah, I mean, the turning 7 times, but everything that you're putting back into the community, it's what provides for communities and really creates small town economies are based around our independent retailers. So yeah, helping them be more successful is, that's the name of the game, right?
That's great.
Um, so with your network, you have kind of the pulse on so much going on. What do you see working well for retailers right now? What have been great successes that you've seen this year or yeah.
Well, a couple things. Number one, events and experiences are still critical. And I think if you're a more traditional brick and mortar business, you've probably done really well with that for a long time. I also work with a lot of online only businesses. And so they're also leaning into what does it mean to have an event or an experience,
Sure. Mm,
especially in a year where, this was a tough year for a lot of retailers. The
yeah.
economy was tough. People were making different spending choices. So how do I still get people in my space and help them feel really good? So that's been key. I've also seen a huge crossover and collaboration between apparel and gift and home. So people
Okay.
testing product
Yep.
categories, and products they traditionally wouldn't. I see people also, retailers also investing in higher level lines than they would have in the past.
Okay.
Not as fixed on like price point, but more fixed on like quality and demand and all these other things, right? Because there's a price point for everyone, but I'm seeing people going up because I think the average consumer today is saying, hey, I don't want something that's cheap and fast. I want something that's going to last a little bit longer, worth investing in, worth passing down. So that's a bit of a shift in what I'm seeing people buying. And then the third thing, and this is just all marketing, I would say everyone who's here, I mean, tell me in your business, who sells the most when they're on the floor? Out of you and all of your staff, who sells the most? Who do your customers
Probably,
come in and say, oh, I want to see?
probably the owner, right? Yeah.
It's the owner. They want to see you.
Yeah.
And so
Susan
you,
says
in
me.
your,
Yeah.
yeah, Susan, you're right. So in your local community, you've built a personal brand. Your customers know you by name. They want what you're selling. They trust you as an expert in your space, no matter what you sell. Like they trust you. I want every retailer to take that same experience of building a personal brand in your community online. So when I look across your website, your socials, whatever video you're creating, I want you to build a
Yep.
personal brand online because that is going to drive more traffic into the store or to your website, whatever. So I know this may make a few of you nervous, and that's okay. But if that means you going Facebook Live every week or TikTok Live, depending like whatever your channel might be, it's going to be different for everyone. Lean into it. Video is so powerful because it humanizes you and your brand, and it makes people feel like, they're having that dressing room or cash wrap experience with you. Like you're right there and you're talking to them. There's a reason QVC has been
Mm.
so popular for so many years. People feel like they're being, directly talked to. So build a personal brand with your marketing. And remember, marketing and social media is not just about selling products, but it's about building relationships and building community. Because statistically, if you look across your customer base, only 3% of people are ready to buy at any given point. 3%.
Crazy.
There's 7% that
Yeah.
would buy if you presented them with the right product. So you have 90% of people who are following you who aren't going to do anything. So your job isn't to sell them a product. Your job is to keep them engaged and building a personal
Yep.
brand, asking the question of the day, whatever. That's what really is going to keep you sticky and keep you showing up in the news feed, which is going to keep you top of mind so that when they're ready to make a purchase, they're going to come into your store first.
And they recognize you and they come in and they say, hi, Susan, hi, Heather. And that
Yeah.
I recognize you. I saw your live or I saw you do the product demonstration. I liked it. I'm coming in to buy that. They know you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to make that connection and really, that's, wanting that good experience. And I think experiences are something that, whether it's events or whether it is, just other things, the customer service experience that you're doing really kind of sets you apart from so many other businesses. That you're not getting that same personalized experience from Target that they're getting from their local, gift store or apparel boutique, and that you can really do so much more with your customers.
Yeah. You don't have a self checkout line in your
Yeah.
store. Like, go down that
No.
road anything. Like that's not ever going to be.
And I was really like your point that expanding categories. It is no longer that apparel is apparel and gifts are gifts. There is kind of this blending of categories. Is that, when you're seeing that, is that to maybe help mitigate some changing customers, kind of make it a little bit more broad? What do you see as kind of the reasoning behind the blending of categories?
Well, it's so interesting. Like maybe when I first got started in this industry, I was like ignorant to this fact and everybody else knew it. But I always thought of a boutique as an independent retailer with curated goods. But when I got into this industry, then I was like, oh, wait, like boutique owners consider themselves that. Like we curate all kinds of things. But then I would go to home and gift markets and they're like, no, we're a gift store. Like, no, we're home and
Sure.
gift. And they looked at
Yeah.
themselves very different. But I think the blending started to happen during COVID. And
Yeah.
now, like really any new retailer I talk to, they have no idea that there's two separate things. And I get questions like, why are there two separate markets? Why
Yeah.
is there an apparel market and a gift market? Like I'm carrying both categories. So I just think retailers are missing out on opportunities in both markets because there's so many great unique things in both places. But again, to answer your question, I think COVID changed a lot of that. I
Yeah.
think that a lot of retailers who, were mandated to be closed had to find new ways to sell, and a lot of them resorted to, selling online, doing Facebook Live, whatever that might be, and they would sell anything they could because they
Yeah.
had to make the money. It didn't matter if it was apparel or gift. People realized I can actually sell a candle online. I can talk about a scent enough that somebody wants to buy this candle online. So I think that just opened everyone's mind to, wow, like this is what's possible. I can sell any category. I'm building a lifestyle business more than I'm building a category
Yes.
specific business.
Yeah. Susan, apparel and gift should be together, at marts or, really within the store. I mean, there's so much blending and crossover between them. So,
Yeah.
got a
Oh, sorry.
pupper making a, it's okay.
Sorry about that.
You talked about online. Yep. We'll wait till she gets back. But, um, so yeah, I do agree. A lot had changed during that COVID time, where it really kind of brings in different categories. You had talked about online, and I know there is a push, maybe internally or externally, for brick and mortars to feel like I have to have an online store.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, and what should retailers really consider before trying to launch an online store in addition to their brick and mortar?
That is such a great question and kind of an evolving question. So I'll say to start, I think what's most important before you think of like a full online store is you have to have a good online presence. So there at least has to be, when I Google your business and your brick and mortar, you've got to show up. So
Yeah.
have you updated your Google My Business profile? Are you showing up correctly on Google Maps? Do you at least have a website so that your business name ranks? Like, have you considered online SEO for a brick and mortar store? And that's something we have a platform called Boutique Hub Black, and we dig deep into how do brick and mortar stores do that. Even running Facebook and Google ads, like you don't necessarily need to sell online in order to do those things successfully in a brick and mortar experience. So online presence is first. But then I think the second consideration is, what's the future of my business? So where's this going to go? Am I going to sell this business someday? Am I going to pass this business down someday? And I mean, COVID taught us that anything could happen. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. So how do I diversify my revenue streams? This would be like the ultimate, question, along with what do I want my business to end up as someday. So when I'm making that consideration, that's when a lot of people say, oh, you know what, I do need to build out this revenue stream. What I think is often assumed when you're at that point is kind of like Kevin Costner in the Field of Dreams. If I build it, they will come.
Yeah. Yep.
And they don't. It
That's
doesn't
right.
happen like that. Just because you have a website, just because you have an online store, it doesn't mean anyone's ever going to buy anything and shop it. There's some things you have to do. So I would give consideration to who can help me operate this online store if maybe that's not my gift. Like if I'm a little bit technology averse, okay, great, that's fine. Who can I help or have help operate? Because when we have an online store, we've got to go in and like turn the key every morning and walk in through the door and show up and operate this store just like I would my brick and mortar. It's not that it just does it on its own. So what's my photography schedule for new arrivals? What's my marketing schedule for, again, new arrivals, collections, markdowns? Am I pushing that on social media and giving direct links to all of those product URLs and saying, hey, you can snag this in my store from 10 to 6, or here, grab it right here and you can do in-store pickup, or we'll ship across the USA free over $100. So your messaging and your calls to action have to become really specific across your marketing to let your customers know and train them that you can sell in both places. And again, that takes someone showing up and operating it like it's a brick and mortar every single day online. But there's so many great resources. It's never been easier, in my opinion, to start e-commerce and to start an online store. I 1000% would recommend Shopify. I'm not paid to say that. I work with thousands of stores every day, and it's the easiest one. So
Yeah.
there is some consideration too to what is your point of sale and how much does it integrate and how user friendly is it for you as a very busy retailer to keep it updated. So
Yeah. So I think that is, you think online sales, so many people are going online that, okay, then my store has to have an online, but it's a whole nother business. it is a whole nother thing that you are running. And I mean, just the kind of scratching the surface there of photography and point of sale and getting all of that built in and product descriptions. And, there's so much that goes into that it's not, and keeping up with inventory. If you don't have it in your store, then it's a whole nother business. And, and all of the other hats that you're wearing, adding a
Yeah.
whole nother business on top of that is can be difficult too. So really
But
understanding where your bandwidth.
yeah, and I don't want to scare anybody with
Yeah.
that. There, like,
Yeah. Right.
there are stuff like you can very easily learn this. And there's some changes to your daily routine that you can make to make this much easier on yourself. There are resources like this is what we do on a daily basis is help people answer this question and then put them in touch with people that can help make their life a lot easier. So just because it seems big and scary and
Yes.
it is
Yeah.
another business, like don't let it stop you. There's all kinds of resources to make your life easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I didn't mean to phrase it as a, like don't venture into it, but it's yeah. Yeah. It is. It's something else to build on top. So. Um, in kind of talking about online, and you had mentioned these companies before, but this year we really kind of saw a new player enter the field, or a couple,
Yeah.
in Temu and Shein. Thoughts on Temu and Shein as they're impacting independent retailers? How can retailers really separate themselves from that competition? What are your thoughts there?
Well, it's a big topic. And I think what the shift that I'm starting to see in the marketplace is I think there was a lot of retailers that thought, oh, this is just harmless. Like, oh, I can get these
Right.
great products for cheap, right? No big deal. But I'm starting to see a real shift of realization that, oh, this is crap. Like, this is
Right.
low
Yeah.
quality. I think there's a lot more awareness now that all the photography and all the products from those websites are stolen from the United States small business owners. I
Mhm.
see it every single day with my largest e-commerce retailers. It's it's a picture of them with their heads cut off
Oh wow.
on
Yeah.
sheet.
Okay.
And they're like, "Oh my gosh, how do I do a takedown?" I mean, literally every single day this is happening. So I think the more awareness that we can build together that this is how this works, this is child labor, this is all these other things, I think the tide is going to start to shift. Economically, I mean, even not to like mention the election, but I do think we're going to start to see that loophole closed where they can import packages under $600 and not be
Right.
charged any taxes on that, which is again how they're getting cheap products into the United States. So I think just continuing that messaging of, hi, I'm a small business. This is how I ethically get my products. They're made from other small business owners like me. This is, this is my photograph. I took this photograph. I didn't steal this from anybody else. Like just pounding that message along with that economic impact that you have as a small business owner, Shein and Temu can never compete with that. Along with that customer service, they can never compete with that. And on top of it, as I talked about retailers and buying a little bit better quality goods, I think Shein and Temu in the marketplace have really forced that. I think there's a lot of
Yes.
retailers that are saying, hey, I want to separate myself. I don't want to be known to be in this product category. I want to elevate and go here because there's demand for that. So all of that to say, just don't hate your customers for shopping on those sites at the end of the day. Like there's all the
Yeah.
reasons they're terrible, but you still may have customers who shop those sites and in addition they shop you. Just like you probably and I from time to time shop Walmart or Amazon for things that we need, but we also shop in these small business owners in their stores. So how do you continue to set yourself apart and make yourself different and drive demand and experience and build community and relationships that again sets yourself apart from Shein and Temu?
Yeah. And that's, I think, you know, economic, with inflation cost, that if our people are looking at a cheap option for something, it is a cheap option for something. It is also what you get what you paid for. It is cheap, and it's not going to last more than a wear or two. And it's, so having those better products in store, more durable items, that is, people are going to recognize that there's a good spot for that. Heather did ask a good question here. What do you do when you find a product that you've been selling for years and now the stuff's being on Temu? Or what do you do when you find that your picture that you took, that is you wearing the item or, demonstrating it, whatever, is now being used on Temu or Shein? Um,
Yeah.
what?
So let's answer that question first. So if something that I'm selling in a photo that I took is being used on any of these sites, you can force a DMCA takedown. So there's a website that I don't even know. It's like DMCA whatever .org .gov. I don't even know what it is. But you can go to that website and you can file and say, hey, this is my image. It's listed on this website. Like, here's the URLs, and you can force a takedown of that. I've seen some people have success with it. Some people will like blast Shein and Temu for it. I don't know that that's even, it's not even worth your time. Like, do the takedown. If it works, great. Otherwise, put positive energy into what you can really impact. And the same is kind of true if you find things that you're selling on Temu. I mean, there's some customer education, like, this is what's selling on Temu, this is what I sell, and here's the quality difference between the two. But then again, at the end of the day, is it worth your energy to fight that? Probably not. Like, if you
Right.
have a higher end business, is your customer really going to go source it somewhere else, or do they even know? Probably not. Just like anything in retail, like, sell it until it doesn't sell anymore, and then move on and find your next bestseller. It's a typical hamster wheel that we're all on in this
Right.
business.
Yeah. That's, it is good that there is that, the DMCA that you can go there, can, try and get those things taken down. And yeah, I mean, just trying to compare quality of product, because, even if it's the same thing that you're selling, we know that it's really not going to be the same thing. It's going to be a lower quality knockoff. And so, yeah, trying to educate your customers about what that's going to be.
Yeah, agreed. Have you guys ordered from Shein and Temu before? I mean, there is some hilarious TikToks out there of
Okay.
like, this they ordered
Oh
and
no.
this is what
Oh no.
is terrible. So the more product education too on like quality. This is the zipper, this is the lining, this is how long this candle burns, this is what it's made of, this is the clean ingredient, all those things. The product education you're already doing, keep pushing that.
Yeah. And that sounds like some great social media content that you could even compare, that, this is what I'm selling in store versus what you would be able to find, and why coming into my store and paying a little bit more than that, you're getting a much better quality product. And the zipper is not going to break after one wear. And it actually looks like what it looks like in the picture. And not, not something hilariously awful. So
And your dollars are staying in America. Like,
yeah,
God bless
absolutely.
America.
Right.
Money
Yep.
local.
And they're staying local, and how that impacts the economy, your local economy, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're approaching the end of the year, and so I always love holiday events and things going on. What are you hearing from your network of just different holiday concepts and ideas that are going on, that people are doing, that you might want to share with this audience?
Yeah, great question. It's the best time of year, isn't it?
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
May, hey, the sun shines, let's go. Biggest thing this year, again, that I'm seeing is collaboration. How can you work with other retailers local to you? How can you work with other local artisans that maybe, there's just somebody that doesn't have a retail space necessarily, but you invite them in for a pop-up? How can you collaborate with a salon or a spa or any other type of local business, or an online business? What's your online giveaway, hosting an online event, any kind of charitable activity? Pink Friday is a great example of that. November 22nd, are you participating with stores around the world, celebrating what it means to support small businesses first? So collaboration's huge. The second thing I would say has been really big and popular all year long, and it's transitioning into the holiday season, is the concept of like a bar or like a DIY experience.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
permanent jewelry was big. Charm necklaces and bracelets
Yes.
were big,
See
like a DIY.
yeah.
Stocking stuffer bars. That's a huge trend. So coming in and having that experience where you can come and make your own stocking. I'm seeing denim jacket bars. I'm seeing trucker hat bars. Like, again, just the experience of why get people through the door versus just, here's a sale, right?
Yeah.
We need more than the sale. We really want an experience. So I would say that's the other big piece of it. And then the third thing, just to put my like digital marketing hat on, is it's customer acquisition season. So whatever type of giveaway you can run this season, however you can gather an email address, whatever kind of like January bonus buck opportunity you can give people for shopping now and get them back in January. It's all about acquiring new customers so that when we turn the page on the new year, when we enter a J month, we're walking into it armed and ready, with a digital marketing experience that can push us into the new year.
Um, I have a question coming in, but I just want to comment the customization of products. You talked the trucker hats, the denim jackets, the getting the experience of coming in and being able to make something of my own and buying, yes, you're buying the products there, you're buying the materials, but then it's something custom to me. I think that is, I'm seeing that everywhere. I'm seeing that that is such a popular thing. So if you're not taking advantage of that somehow, think about how can you create a bar, create a customizable experience that your customers can come in and make something for themselves. So yeah, love that. Have a question. I'm an Indian designer and sourcing house working with big retailers in the United States. I want to collaborate with the small and medium businesses. How do you do that? I participate in the world market, Las Vegas. So any how to collaborate with their small and medium businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I think going to markets really, that's still your best option. Whether that's at World Market in Las Vegas, whether that's going to Dallas, whether it's going to Atlanta. We have a membership at the Boutique Hub for manufacturers and brands where they can then market to our community at the Boutique Hub. That's another great way to kind of have a little bit more omni-channel experience. But yeah, that's where I would start.
Yeah. So and Heather asks, do you have can you or have you posted the bar idea on the Hub Facebook page?
We have. So inside of our membership groups at the Hub, we've talked about this a number of times, honestly, all year long. We've talked about all these different experiences. And then again, this is community over competition. So when you're a member of the Boutique Hub, someone asks a question like, hey, I'm going to host a trucker hat bar. How do I do it? You could go to the search bar and you could see all the past conversations on the topic, or, there's thousands of retailers in there that can jump in and help answer, share photos, kind of share their experience there. So in the membership groups, Heather, we've definitely talked about that quite a bit.
Perfect. Wants to be a member of the Boutique Hub. How do they become a member of the Boutique Hub?
Yeah, so two things I'll give you. My email address is Ashley, ASHLEY, at theboutiquehub.com. Or if you just go to theboutiquehub.com and click the join button in the upper right corner, there's an option to join as a retailer, as a brand, and we have a select few industry service providers that are partners of ours as well. But click retailer or brand and you can join right there.
Perfect. Yeah. My last question, then we'll open up for Q&A. But looking at 2025, what is your thought on state of retail? What's going on? How can retailers set themselves up for success in the new year?
Oh goodness. Well,
Big questions. Yeah.
I mean, with the election's going to play into this question. There's a
Yep.
lot of people that are saying, I mean, that's going to change a lot of outlook. And here's the fact: no matter who you voted for and what your outlook on the election is, history tells us that elections bring certainty.
Yeah.
Whether your guy won or not, at least I have certainty for what can I expect in the next year, and I can kind of settle in on that idea. And economically, that gives consumers some stability. Like, okay, I was kind of like hoarding and I didn't want to buy anything because I've been so fearful around, this election happening. Now I at least know and I can get on with my life. So I look for everyone to get on with their life in the next year. I
Yep.
look for the economy to rebound in a sense. So I think that'll be great for small business owners. But like I said, make hay while the sun shines and make sure this holiday season you're preparing yourself for next year by focusing on profitability over sales. So I don't want to see retailers chasing like, I sold this much last year, I need to sell this much this year. I would say, how much did you profit last year?
Mm.
How can I increase my margins so that I can have more profitability going into the new year? Because there's nothing worse than being a retailer and getting to pay those quarterly taxes in January and going, uh-oh, where did all my money go? So I think that's a big piece. Set yourself up for success now. And then into the new year, really going back to building a community, building a personal brand, building relationships, whether that's through a Facebook group, not just a page, but a group, really being active on Instagram stories, more than just an Instagram account, and then really leveraging video content is going to be really important. When you can do those things, it really helps you to provide a customer experience that matches digitally and with a brick and mortar space. I also think in the new year, a huge trend and a huge focus for a lot of the retailers I work with is, like I mentioned at the beginning, getting back into Google Ads and getting back into Facebook ads and understanding what is my local SEO? Am I showing up in all the ways that I possibly could be? So I think that's going to be a focus for people to take that experience in-house and run their own ads in the new year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right now is the time to, we're clearing out inventory, making money, getting prepared for fourth quarter. Sorry, we're in fourth quarter, getting prepared for first quarter of next year to
Yep.
go to those trade shows, to buy more, to really set yourself up for success. So, what can you do right now, especially to make sure that you're in a good position for next year? If that's, sales events, that's Facebook Live or live selling to kind of get things out and get that extra money in so you can be more successful in the next year.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. And just sitting down, Patrick, basic retail, just knowing your numbers,
yeah,
just having
right.
a good understanding of your markdown strategy and inventory management. A lot of businesses have really been forced to really look at numbers in a new way in the last year. And that's only for the better. When there's a downturn in the economy, like again, that's an opportunity for us to just get better, to get lean, to get more focused. I've seen a lot of retailers come to me and say this year, you know what? I actually figured out I could do more with less. I
Mm,
didn't need as
okay.
much
Yeah.
inventory. I was able to find more profitability with a lower inventory count. So I think that's exciting. We're going to have smarter retailers in
Yes.
2025 based on what happened in 2024.
Good. Yeah. And yeah, focusing where are your best sellers? What are your best selling categories? Where can you make the more margin off of things?
That's right. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? We'll do some
Yeah.
Q&A. Come in the chat. We'd love to help. Heather, I've got to come see you in Winona. I know. I know. I've got kids going to Winona for tennis lessons this winter, so I'll have an opportunity
Oh,
to for
very
sure.
nice. All right, if we are not getting any other questions, Ashley, thank you very, very much for being on today. I've learned a ton. Kelly, I love your background, economic development, appreciate the information. So yes, thank you very much for being on today. There's a lot of great information, a lot of just industry information. And again, community over competition is amazing. I love that motto. I love just bringing that to larger retail community. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Patrick, for having me on. And you guys, thank
Of
you so
course.
much for jumping onto the webinar, whether you catch this live or you watch the replay. I hope to meet all of you at some point. So thanks for
Yeah.
joining us. And Patrick, thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you all for being on today. Take care, everybody. Bye.